As we may be already aware, we filed an appeal at the Amasaman High Court as far back as 3rd of July 2025. There has been back and forth, but today, to the glory of God, judgment has been delivered. We were praying for the conviction to be set aside and for the sentence to be reduced. The court, in its wisdom, agreed with us on the excessiveness of the sentencing, but upheld the conviction imposed on my client by the circuit court. So essentially, the court has upheld the conviction, but has reduced the jail term of 15 years to 12 calendar months. Basically, that's what happened.
When should we be expecting Mama Pa?
Very soon, should be out.
Akwes,
The queen, I couldn't be baby say, I'd say, Ibia, a bear, if you know the man, and I say, but I'm say, or cancer call anyone, Sipena, Betisson, Mamma, Akumasa, the Panasi.
I'm not coming by Nana Mama Party to Nanopa. If he bear 3rd July 2025, let us send me. What's the brilliant? You yes, why you to my say? Then I can find
Something a Mignano, Mamma Casai. Timuno na, and Yajibats. The Yamasa say Yakubu Cradam, then Quadu Cranan Casano. I'm so excited. Yakubu Cradam. Yeah.
and that's a good thing. So that's
and then he said, I must believe that this is an exciting day.
The country was actually shocked, ladies and gentlemen, as news broke from the Amasaman High Court. The court had made a surprising decision in a case that has captured Ghana's attention for months, ladies and gentlemen. Nana Agradaa, specifically a well-known or illustrious tele-evangelist, had her prison sentence reduced. The original sentence of 15 years for defrauding two people in a fake money doubling rituals was seen by many as harsh. Now, the court has cut it to just 12 months, ladies and gentlemen, which is equivalent to 1 year. Now, Nana Agradaa had been convicted for asking people for money with promises to double it using spiritual services, ladies and gentlemen. The court confirmed she was guilty though, but said the first sentence was too long. The new sentence is backdated to July 3rd, 2025. Nana Agradaa has already spent about 7 months, ladies and gentlemen, so far in prison. She also faces fines of 2,500 Ghana cedis and must pay 1,000 Ghana cedis to each victim, ladies and gentlemen. The ruling shocked many Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. Unlike people shared their doubts about fairness in the justice system here in Ghana. Some felt Nana Agradaa got special treatment because of her influence. Big Akwes, ladies and gentlemen, a friend who once worked closely with Nana Agradaa cried publicly whilst talking about the ruling. Ladies and gentlemen, he expressed sadness for the victims and of course confusion about the sentence reduction. This case, ladies and gentlemen, reminds us that actions have consequences or results. Even those with influence can actually face justice. The court's decision shows that the law can actually adjust sentences if it believes the punishment is too harsh or long. Nana Agrada's case also teaches us the value of thinking carefully before trusting anyone with money. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter how respected or honored they actually appear, the story is far from over. Many are watching closely to see if justice feels not fair. Ladies and gentlemen, Nana Agradaa remains a public figure, and of course, the case has sparked a conversation about honesty, trust, and of course, accountability. Let us quickly discuss what actually led to this particular case, ladies and gentlemen. Nana Agradaa specifically became famous for her spiritual services on television, ladies and gentlemen. Many people sought her help to solve financial problems. She promised to double money through special rituals, after first, followers trusted her, deeply. But in 2025, two people realized they had been tricked, The paper they were actually given had no real value, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, their money was actually lost. The victims reported Nana Agradaa to the authorities. Investigations actually began, and the case quickly or shiftily gained attention nationwide. The media covered every development, ladies and gentlemen, and debate started online. Some people supported Nana Agradaa, believing her intentions were pure. Others criticized her for misleading people and of course taking advantage of their hopes. Eventually, ladies and gentlemen, Nana Agradaa was actually taken to court. She faced charges of charlatanic advertisement and of course defrauding by false, pretenses. The court examined the evidence carefully. Document, witness statements, and of course, video footages were actually presented. The court concluded that Nana Agradaa had indeed misled the victims. The case was actually important because it sent a message to the public. It showed that no one is above the law. Ladies and gentlemen, even religious leaders must actually act honestly. It also reminded people to protect their money and, of course, make careful decisions when trusting others. Big Akwes specifically, who once worked closely with Nana Agradaa, ladies and gentlemen, has said this case is painful for everyone involved. He shared his feelings publicly, expressing sorrow for the victims. Through this particular case, ladies and gentlemen, we actually learned a key moral lesson. Trust is powerful but fragile or delicate. People should actually seek guidance carefully and, of course, verify claims before handling over money. Nana Agrada's journey from influence to conviction highlights how choices can actually have serious consequences. The big twist in this case came when the Amasaman, ladies and gentlemen, High Court reduced Nana Agradaa's sentence. The original 15-year term with hard labor shocked the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, many people felt it was extremely harsh or very long. The court explained that the punishment did not actually fit the crime in the long term. Nana Agradaa's sentence was actually revised to 12 consecutive months, ladies and gentlemen. It was actually backdated to July, 3rd, 2025. She had already served 7 months. Her remaining time in prison is short. The court also imposed fines of 2,500 Ghana cedis and, of course, ordered her to refund 1,000 cedis, to each victim. The ruling caused, strong reactions online. Some Ghanaians questioned, whether Nana Agradaa got special treatment because of her fame. Others argued that the court was fair in considering the initial sentence too harsh. Big Akwes, deeply moved by the decision, cried openly and, of course, expressed his sadness. His reactions reminded viewers that real people are affected by these decisions, not just headlines. This is a moment for reflection. The case shows that justice systems must balance punishment with fairness. Ladies and gentlemen, Nana Agrada's case teaches patience and, of course, understanding. It also shows the importance of responsibility, both for public figures and, of course, ordinary citizens. The reduction of Nana Agradaa's sentence has sparked ongoing discussions in Ghana. Many citizens feel that justice should be consistent, regardless of influence or fame. Social media posts have expressed disappointment, ladies and gentlemen, concern, and, of course, even anger. Others was to emphasize the importance of fairness in revising punishment. Big Akwes' public reaction has become symbolic of the emotions surrounding this particular case, ladies and gentlemen. His tears specifically highlighted the human side of legal decisions. Nana Agradaa, meanwhile, will actually serve her remaining time and, of course, complete her fines and refunds. This closure may actually allow the victims to recover, at least partially. These developments of Nana Agradaa, ladies and gentlemen, teaches several lessons. Honesty and integrity are critical, especially for public figures. Trust is fragile or delicate and should not be taken lightly. The law serves to protect everyone, and, of course, fairness should actually guide every judgment. As Ghana watches closely, ladies and gentlemen, people are reminded that consequences exist for every action. Nana Agrada's journey shows that mistakes or errors can actually lead to public scrutiny, personal loss, and, of course, lessons for the wider society. Big Akwes, emotional reactions also reminds us that empathy and, of course, understanding matter during difficult times. Thank you. See you in the next video.